forging ahead amidst a pandemic. The year 2020 is marked by the COVID-19 crisis. Against this backdrop, we would like to share with you the stories of a few textile and garment industry leaders who have remained agile and resilient, exploring new opportunities, or even contributing to the community. Featuring Julie Davies, with host Nicole Kohlers. Welcome to ITMA Live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another ITMA Live session. It's my great pleasure to introduce our next guest. She has extensive expertise and experience in the textile industry. She is the General Manager of Processing Innovation and Education Extension of the Woolmark Company. Please welcome Julie Davies. Hello, Julie. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, Nicole. How are you?
Great. So Woolmark consults with leading international brands, fashion and sports brands. Would you briefly tell us a little bit more about Woolmark and the successes that they've had in the past few years?
Yes, look, Woolmark's a really an amazing company. It's very unique and often very, very hard to explain to people about all the activities that we actually do. We invest in research and development right through the wool supply chain. And that means right from on-farm. So we're owned by 60,000 Australian wool growers, and our R&D starts from on-farm right through to early stage processing, right through the supply chain from the knitting, weaving, dyeing and finishing of wool products, wool garment construction, right through to marketing activities for brands, through to consumer education. So it's very, very diverse. I want to say that, the wool comes from an amazing growers in Australia, absolutely passionate about their sheep, the care of their sheep, the welfare, and that they a lot of these properties, it's not, it's a massive industry, but they're run by family-owned businesses. So you've got, second, third generation families, farmers on these properties, caring, growing the world's best wool. And it really is our job then as employees of the Woolmark Company to make sure that we're supporting the whole supply chain. So working closely with the manufacturing industry and brands and designers to make sure that they're producing the best that they can out of Australian wool. We also have, under me, being General Manager of Process Innovation and Education Extension, I have a team of technical experts. We have 13 offices around the world. So we have these technical experts who really support the production of wool. So whether it be spinning, dyeing, finishing, knitting experts, weaving experts, so that we can support industry if they have any issues at all or they want to innovate with wool. We have this breadth of knowledge throughout the world, whether it be, Europe, India, Korea, China, Hong Kong, Japan, it's the States. It's very diverse and made up of a lot of very passionate and knowledgeable people in the industry to support every aspect of the wool supply chain.
Wonderful. The pandemic has presented many challenges, and I would like to know how Woolmark is coping with these challenges, or have you had to make any adjustments?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a difficult time, not just for us, as we know, the globe, and for us in particular, we have. We invest in R&D on farm, so we work very closely with Australian wool growers. But through that supply chain, now that the impact of this the virus on the economy and manufacturers and brands, it has that knock-on effect through industry. So as we struggle at a retail level, obviously those retailers aren't placing the orders that they would have COVID, and then the manufacturers aren't getting those orders, so therefore less wool sales. It really does affect the whole textile supply chain. We have 13 offices around the world, and we're very much used to participating in trade events, trade shows, global trade shows like ITMA. Obviously these trade shows have ceased, so we've had to look at new ways to do business, and be flexible and agile in this situation.
Mm-hmm. And in doing so, are there any positive outcomes? Are there any lessons perhaps you can share? Have you been able to perhaps reach out to the community, or maybe change the way that you deploy your sources?
Definitely. And it's an interesting time with this sort of situation, that it's actually allowed us, and I'm sure this is the case for many businesses, to really take a look at how we do business, how we've traditionally done business, and how we can improve on that with different technologies, and being a little bit smarter about it. And, the textile supply chain, the energy of it is amazing, and we all thrive and live off that energy, and it is wonderful. But, with that also, you get caught up with just doing, repeat business, the same things, and not having that time to really step away from the way you work, the way your teams work, the way you interact with other companies and organisations, and that so that's a positive for us. And we've been far more in the digital space, doing more activities and being able to support our trade partners in a different way. For instance, in my role at Woolmark, I actually look after, I'm general manager for processing innovation through the supply chain. So once that wool gets exported, as I said, the early stage processing onwards, I also look after the education extension part of the business. And what we, as you said in my introduction, I've been in the wool industry for many, many years, and I've worked for vertical suppliers, and what I always found, the lack of knowledge of wool in the supply chain, through no fault of anyone's, more that, a lot of students who study either design, fashion design, or textile engineering at university level, the study of wool is just a very small component of their courses. And wool is an intricate fibre. It's an expensive raw material. So to be equipped with the knowledge about wool before you enter the workplace is a really valuable element. And we've been working for the last 3 years developing an online platform, which is the Woolmark Learning Centre. And that is made up of tertiary level courses written by industry experts who educate every step of the way in the wool processing and manufacture of from the yarn through to garments, weaves, knits, all sorts of innovations. So for us, that's been an amazing start with COVID. We launched that platform in December, and then so with this, we've actually got quite a lot of traction. It is available to everyone from students right through to supply chain as well, people in the workforce.
That is wonderful. That is absolutely a positive outcome with this past few months, and that's something that can last forever.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
wonderful.
And we're continually developing courses for that platform. We're just about to launch a knitwear design module, again written by an industry expert. And we've been doing a lot of promotion, especially at tertiary level institutions globally, and we're getting a lot of fantastic traction with that. So, as I said, looking at how we do things differently, the digital space is so important to us, and we all as industry have to look at new ways of communicating, still without businesses lagging, still being innovative, working collaborative. We need to keep continuing that. And I think there is a hunger for that as well. I think everyone's looking, wants to try and take a benefit away, not just think it's just doom and gloom.
Yes, definitely. So you speak so passionately about wool. It's a natural fiber. It has amazing story to tell, especially with the eco credentials that it has and the versatility as a clever substitute or alternative to other fibers. Would you share some anecdotes about this?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. I am very passionate about about wool. Wool is the oldest fibre around, and wool has been in many people's lives for centuries, and for lots of reasons, for apparel or insulation. Even now, you open a piano, and there's wool felt in the piano for the pads as they touch as you strike the chords. So there's probably wool in a lot of places that people aren't aware of. But in the clothing industry, the natural benefits of wool, without wool in its raw state, the properties of wool are extraordinary. That it keeps you warm in cooler climates. It actually keeps you cool in warmer climates because wool can absorb moisture and take that sweat away from the body and keep you cooler and more comfortable in those warmer climates. Won't make you feel muggy. It also absorbs odor. So, we have hikers who wear, or athletes who wear wool, 3, 4, 5 days straight, and you won't get that smell, the odor in a garment. So these are all natural things that, a lot of synthetic fibers try to emulate this by applied treatments, but wool does this naturally. And, as a sustainable fibre, I think it's something that we all need to be looking at and taking more seriously. They're not just fashion pieces, even down to the washing of a garment. If you have a wool garment, you don't need the frequent washing that you would a synthetic or a cotton. So there's a whole lot of amazing positives to wool that aren't really known to a lot of people, and that's part of what Woolmark are trying to do also now, is get that exposure, to really educate the consumer about the absolute benefits of wool.
You have just taught me something very important. I do lots of sports, and I will definitely be looking for wool garments for my sport activity. I did not even think about that. I didn't realize that it's better alternative. Therefore, I don't have to worry about the smell of the clothing. Very good. But speaking of that is quite an innovation. Many innovations have paved the way forward for the wool industry. Do you have any exciting stories to share, or perhaps with some other brands or shareholders for Woolmark in terms of innovations?
Definitely. And it's interesting with this question, and we have to realize how innovations also evolve. It really is collaboration with industry. And we exhibited at ITMA last year, which was seriously an amazing textile, the machinery show. It's the leading machinery show globally. And the energy at ITMA is extraordinary. So you're working with machinery companies, the innovation in machinery and technologies to support the supply chain. So working, for wool as a raw material, we're talking to and working in collaboration with these amazing textile machinery companies, whether they're spinners, printers, knitters, or weavers, or looking at more eco-friendly processing of wool. And unless you have that buy-in by industry, you can't innovate. So the way we do it, we work very closely with those machinery companies, whether it be, for instance, knitwear, very closely with Stoll, Santoni, Shimasaki, innovating, and then working with the spinners, helping them develop technical yarns that can be used on those machines to innovate new product. So some of the products I'm talking about are wool in footwear. So instead of synthetic shoes, you have using wool and wool blended yarns in footwear for better abrasion, more comfort to the wearer. And again, what I said before about odor management, not having to even wear a sock in the shoe, in a wool shoe, or for comfort reasons, or even developing really innovative wool socks, not just traditional suiting, but, active sports, active performance wear. There's also a lot of innovation in yoga wear, so health and wellness, so yoga collections, so you're getting compression garments with wool as well. So we're really moving away from traditional. We want to protect this industry, absolutely, but suiting, beautiful suiting where you traditionally see wool, but there's so many other areas of our lives that we can actually wear wool as well. Wool denim's another amazing product. So there's wool fur. So instead of synthetic faux furs, we have wool. So there's lots and lots of applications. Wool fill in jackets, in the wadding. So instead of synthetic wadding in a jacket, putting wool in there for your installation. So I could go on. There's many, but they're just a few of them. But again, coming back, it's complete collaboration with that supply chain, working closely with them to innovate and push those innovations up to showcase to brands and designers, and in the same way working closely with designers and brands back through the supply chain to innovate wool products.
Julie, honestly, I could listen to you for another hour talking about this. It really is fascinating. But I do have one more question for you. I want to get your opinion. So a recent study by the International Textile Manufacturer Federation, they did a study about the pandemic impact on the global textile value chain. And the results were that globally, the sales have been continued to be lower than average by 40%. However, when asked to when the pre-crisis levels would return, a lot of the people responded, 23% of them said that they think it's going to go back up to pre-crisis levels by the first quarter of 2021. I wanted to get your opinion. With a vaccine somewhere in our future, do you think that will change the way people's confidence will be in terms of sales?
Yeah, I do. I wish I could be as optimistic. But the reality, I think, is that knock-on effect. The northern hemisphere is just going into their autumn-winter season. I think this is going to be a very telling time for industry with sales on with what those brands, those retailers are selling, and then that knock-on effect down the supply chain, as I said before, about then manufacturers not getting orders placed or decreased orders. I think we've got a long way to go. I would love to see it bounce back, but I do, quickly. But to be honest, I can't see it happening that quickly. Although there is a great energy in the supply chain, I can't see anyone just giving up. People do want to make it work. I think what we have to do, for wool, it's I think an opportunity for us. I think for a long time now, the consumers, we're getting conscious of that fast fashion, so disposable, the waste that is generated. And really, that is something that had to be addressed for our planet. We can't keep that consumption going and that waste going. And I think for wool, that we're getting more, that consumers are more considered purchaser of a product or garment. And I think that that consumer needs to be more considered, that where is that garment coming from? What is it made of? Is it able to be recycled? What happens with the end? What is end of life to that garment? Whereas, for wool, where we can do the full cycle, it's biodegradable. It starts in the ground. It goes back to the ground, and I think that's. I think in any fibre, but wool in particular, I think we have to be more conscious about even the way we're processing textiles. There's machinery again coming up with waterless dyeing, so more effective ways to produce cloth, less waste, knitting garments without waste, so whole garment knitting instead of cut and sew where you've got excess and that waste. So I think, I look at it, especially for wool, as you're investing in a garment. You're investing in something that you can have for the next 10 years, 20 years if you look after that product. It doesn't have to be a disposable. It's not a seasonal, quick fix. I wear it a couple of times and throw it out. Wool is a long-lasting value product, and I think that's so for wool. I think it is an exciting future.
Well, Julie, I really appreciate your excitement, your passion, your expertise. ITMA appreciates you, and thank you so much for being with us today. We hope to see you in person very soon, perhaps at the next ITMA. So thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, thank you, Nicole. It's really my pleasure to be here and really to talk to everyone about wool and really expose exactly what we do in the industry. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, everyone, we've come to the end of another ITMA live session. Subscribe to our ITMA channel on YouTube and be ready for the next episode as we have another special guest, Alberto Candiani Denim from Candiani. So until then, stay positive.